The residential area in the Boston suburbs takes on a quiet demeanor at dusk. In one corner, in a two-story white house, Emily Collins was gazing out the window. The raindrops trailing down the glass seemed to mirror her emotional state. Late again today, Emily sighed softly. Her husband James had been coming home late for the past few months, claiming he was busy with work. The daily life of this couple, now in their 6th year of marriage, was gradually growing cold. Emily worked as a nurse at the local hospital, dedicating herself to patient care every day. James, on the other hand, worked as an executive at his family's Collins real estate company. As the eldest son of the prominent Collins family, he always carried his family's expectations on his shoulders. The sound of the front door opening announced James's return. "I'm home," his voice sounded tired. "Welcome back. Would you like me to heat up dinner?" Emily approached her husband with a smile. James just patted her shoulder lightly and said, "I already ate. I had dinner with a client," as he sat down on the living room sofa. Emily returned to the kitchen without a word and began clearing away the dinner for one. This too had become part of her recent daily routine. From the beginning of their marriage, Emily had struggled with her relationship with James's parents, especially her mother-in-law, Martha. Martha was always openly,
"Do you know some people earn over $10,000 a month just by posting Reddit stories on YouTube? No face, no voice, just a laptop. I do it too, link below if you're curious,"
saying, "I want a grandchild who carries on the Collins family bloodline." Even in her wedding toast, she had declared, "I'm expecting a lovely grandchild." The following morning, during Emily's break at the hospital, her best friend Samantha sat down at her table. "What's wrong? You look pale," Samantha asked with concern. After a moment's hesitation, Emily quietly answered, "Martha called again yesterday. During Sunday's family gathering, she brought up the topic of children." "Again?" Samantha frowned. "Those people are so persistent." Emily gave a bitter smile. Martha said, "Not having children yet, is there some problem?" Samantha replied with an indignant expression, "What a rude woman. You two have been trying so hard for 3 years." Yes, Emily and James had been trying to conceive for 3 years. The monthly cycle of disappointment and hope had gradually worn down Emily's heart. The pressure from her in-laws in particular had left deep wounds in her heart. "What did James say?" Samantha asked. Emily answered while rotating her coffee cup, "Nothing. He just stayed silent." Recently, on her doctor's recommendation, Emily had started visiting a fertility clinic. But James, claiming he was busy, had never accompanied her for any examinations. Emily secretly suspected that the problem might lie solely with her. "James should get tested too," Samantha said with a serious expression. "I think so too, but he says, there can't be anything wrong with a man," Emily sighed. As the lunch break ended, Emily returned to her ward. Just then, her cell phone rang. It was from James. "Emily, keep next Thursday open," his voice sounded unusually cheerful. "Thursday? Why? It's your birthday, right?" "I've prepared a special surprise," James said, sounding somewhat excited. Emily was surprised. For the past few years, James had rarely remembered her birthday. "A surprise?" "Yes, my parents are looking forward to it too. They said they want to improve their relationship with you." Emily felt a moment of hope. Perhaps her relationship with her in-laws might improve. When she returned home after work, Emily overheard James talking on the phone in his study. "It's all right, everything's perfectly prepared, she doesn't suspect a thing." Emily felt uneasy at these words, but quickly dismissed it. He must be talking about the birthday surprise. This might be a chance to improve relations with the family. Samantha's warning words, that family is up to something, crossed her mind, but Emily denied them. "They're family, it'll be fine," she reassured herself. The morning of Emily's birthday began with an unusually bright atmosphere. James kissed her before leaving for work and whispered, "Tonight will be a special night." His eyes held warmth for the first time in a long while, and Emily felt hope in her heart. "What time will you be home?" Emily asked, wrapping her bathrobe around herself. "I'll go ahead. Let's meet at La Maison at 7. Wear your best dress." He turned back with his hand on the door. "My parents are looking forward to it too." After James left, Emily opened her closet. She took out a black cocktail dress and stood it in front of the mirror. She had bought this dress for their anniversary but never had the chance to wear it. James's words that, "Tonight will be a special night," brought warmth to her heart. Returning early from work, Emily carefully prepared herself. The black dress, a pearl necklace, and her wedding ring, something she had forgotten to wear for the past few months. She styled her hair elegantly and applied tasteful, understated makeup. Smiling at her reflection in the mirror, Emily whispered, "This will do." She felt hopeful, like sensing the arrival of spring after a long winter. Emily took a taxi to La Maison, known as Boston's most prestigious French restaurant. The city lights viewed from the car window shone along with the beating of her heart. "It's a special day for you, isn't it?" the taxi driver said, looking at her through the rearview mirror. Emily smiled. "Yes, it's my birthday." "Congratulations. I hope you have a wonderful evening." "Thank you. I hope so too." Upon arriving at La Maison, she took a deep breath in front of the heavy doors. "It's all right, Emily. Everything will change from tonight," she told herself. The restaurant's elegant interior welcomed her. The light from the chandeliers fell softly, and classical music played quietly. As she proceeded to the main hall, to her surprise, Martha and Robert Collins were waiting for her. "Emily, you came," Martha smiled and, unusually, kissed her on the cheek. Her usual coldness had given way to a friendly attitude. "You look lovely today." "Thank you, Martha," Emily said, somewhat surprised. "We've reserved a private room," Robert explained. His attitude too seemed unusually gentle. "We've prepared a wonderful surprise." "Where's James?" Emily looked around. "He'll be here soon," Martha answered. "Let's go ahead, we've all prepared something special for you." Led by her in-laws, Emily proceeded to the back of the restaurant. In her heart, she felt the expectation that the reconciliation with her in-laws, which she had awaited for years, might become a reality. She might finally be recognized as a member of the Collins family. In front of the private room door, James suddenly appeared behind her. "Hey, Emily," he lightly placed his hand on her shoulder. "You look beautiful." "James," Emily turned around happily. "Thank you. I'm glad you remembered this day." James smiled, looking a bit uneasy, and whispered, "Go in first. The whole family prepared this. We'll be right behind you." With her heart full of expectation, Emily placed her hand on the door. What surprise could be waiting? A token of reconciliation with the family? Or perhaps new fertility treatment options? She took a deep breath and elegantly opened the door. The room was bathed in soft lighting, with just one luxurious table placed in the center. However, contrary to Emily's expectations, there was no one in the room. On the table was a bundle of documents and an envelope. Next to them, her suitcase was placed. "What is this?" Emily approached the table in confusion. Feeling her steps grow heavy, she picked up the documents with trembling hands. Seeing the first page, she felt as if her heart had stopped. It was divorce papers. Already signed by James and his parents. Words caught in her throat. Next, she opened the envelope. Inside was a card with the cold words written on it. "An infertile woman doesn't deserve to be family. Get out." Emily couldn't stop her hands from shaking. Checking the suitcase, she found all her belongings had been packed. Her clothes, cosmetics, even mementos. They had entered her house during her absence and packed everything. The silence of the room enveloped her. A birthday surprise. So this was their plan. Suddenly, small laughter could be heard from beyond the door. The voices of James and Martha. Has she seen it yet? Martha's voice. She must have figured it out by now. James's voice. Something broke inside Emily. At the same time, something grew stronger. She began checking her belongings with trembling hands. Practically everything had been packed: her documents, passport, bank book, and even her medical qualification certificates. They were trying to completely deny and erase her life. Emily took a deep breath. Amidst the mixture of surprise and anger, she tried to regain her composure. This was not just a nightmare. This was reality. The end of a 6-year marriage, a cruel finale staged in a private room of a luxury restaurant. Taking out her cell phone, Emily took pictures of the divorce papers. Then, photos of the note. And also, photos of the suitcase. "I'll keep evidence," she whispered quietly. Taking another deep breath, Emily quietly stood up. She didn't cry or scream. She just grabbed the handle of the suitcase and began walking towards the door. Stopping in front of the door, she turned around. The empty luxurious room, the documents on the table, and the remnants of her life. This was the final gift from James and the Collins family. Quietly but firmly, Emily said, "Fine, now it's time for my surprise." Opening the door, neither James nor his parents were in the hallway. Emily walked straight ahead, heading for the restaurant's front desk. "Do you have a message from the Collins party?" the front desk staff asked politely. Emily replied matter-of-factly, "Yes, please tell the Collins family this message from me. I have received it." As she left the restaurant, Emily stopped and looked up at the starry sky. Tears finally rolled down her cheeks, but they were not tears of sadness, but tears of anger and determination. She took out her cell phone and dialed a number. "Samantha. You were right. It's time to start the plan." Samantha welcomed Emily, whose face was wet with tears. "Come inside," Samantha gently embraced her. "What happened?" Emily placed her suitcase on the floor and removed her coat with trembling hands. Sitting on the sofa in Samantha's apartment, she explained everything that had happened at the restaurant. As she spoke, her voice oscillated between anger and sadness. "I can't believe it," Samantha said in a trembling voice. "How cruel." She was at a loss for words. They had been planning this. Emily took out her cell phone and showed her the photos of the divorce papers and the note. "An infertile woman doesn't deserve to be family," they said. Samantha frowned. But why suddenly? Was there some trigger? Emily fell silent, thinking. Then, a memory resurfaced. "Last week, I heard the test results at the clinic. The doctor said there was nothing wrong with me. But I wasn't allowed to see James's test results. The doctor said it was a privacy issue, but I thought it was strange since we're married." Samantha looked at Emily with a serious expression. "Could it be?" Emily nodded slowly. "Something is being hidden. The cause of our supposed infertility might be." "Let's check at the hospital tomorrow," Samantha said with determination. "A doctor friend of mine might be able to help." That night, Emily could hardly sleep. In her mind, past events played over and over. Her mother-in-law's words at the wedding, "I'm expecting a lovely grandchild." James's passive attitude towards trying to conceive. And his recent late returns and cold attitude. All of it now began to take on new meaning under a new light. The next day, through Samantha's introduction, they were able to meet with Dr. Chen, an OB/GYN at the hospital. After hearing Emily's situation, he deeply furrowed his brow. "This is a delicate issue regarding privacy," he said cautiously. "However, you have rights as a patient. especially in a situation like this. Dr. Chen began searching the hospital's database. After a few minutes, his expression changed. "Emily, this is surprising," he said, staring at the screen. "It seems your husband's test results were recorded under your name." "What do you mean?" Emily was puzzled. "It means they were switched with your test results," Dr. Chen said gravely. "According to the records, the cause of infertility is with your husband. He has azoospermia." Emily felt as if her body had frozen when she heard those words. Azoospermia. She repeated the word. "James. He appears to have known about this diagnosis. The records bear his signature. These are test results from about a year ago." "A year ago?" Anger welled up inside Emily. "He knew and was hiding it. And he was transferring the responsibility to me." Samantha placed her hand on her friend's shoulder. "That's their way. They sacrificed you for the sake of the Collins family's honor." On the way back, quiet anger continued to burn within Emily. She couldn't forgive James for hiding his problem and placing the blame on her. Returning to Samantha's apartment, she decided to investigate James's actions further. "Can you check his cell phone records?" Samantha suggested. "Don't you have a shared account?" Emily nodded and accessed the online communication records. There, she made a startling discovery. For the past 6 months, James had been in frequent contact with a specific number. This number. Emily stared at the screen. The two continued their investigation through social media and found that the owner of the number was a woman named Victoria Clark, who worked for one of James's company's clients. "He was having an affair," Emily said calmly. The calmness surprised even herself. "Want to contact her?" Samantha suggested. After hesitating, Emily made her decision. "I'll go meet her tomorrow." The next day, Emily arranged to meet Victoria Clark at a cafe near her workplace. Using a careful approach, she had sent Victoria a message saying she had something to discuss about James Collins. Initially wary, Victoria was clearly shaken when Emily revealed that she was James's wife. "You're Emily," Victoria said with a surprised expression. She was a sophisticated, beautiful woman with long blonde hair. "Yes," Emily answered quietly. "I am James's wife. At least, until very recently." Victoria sank deep into her chair, displaying a confused expression. He told me you were already divorced." "He lied," Emily smiled, but her eyes were cold. "But that's his specialty." Victoria stared at her silently. "Victoria, I'll tell you the truth," Emily took a deep breath. "James handed me divorce papers and left a note saying, an infertile woman doesn't deserve to be family. But the truth is, the problem is with him. He has azoospermia." The color drained from Victoria's face. "Azoospermia?" "Yes. He's known about it for a year. But he kept it hidden and continued to blame me." Victoria stared at the coffee cup on the table and quietly said, "James and I have been dating for over a year. He said he was planning to divorce you. And he promised that we would start a new family. Did he talk to you about children too?" Emily asked, and Victoria nodded. "Yes, but we've been trying for over 6 months, and I haven't gotten pregnant." Her voice weakened, and tears glistened in her eyes. "He kept saying, it just takes a little more time, but..." Emily suddenly felt strong empathy. She and Victoria were both women deceived by the same man's lies. "He told the same lies to both of us," Emily said quietly. Victoria raised her face and met Emily's eyes. Anger and determination were reflected in them. "I won't go along with his lies anymore." "Neither will I," Emily agreed. "But I can't forgive what he and his family did to me." Victoria's expression changed. "Are you planning something?" "I haven't decided specifically yet," Emily said, choosing her words carefully. I want justice. I don't want to hurt them as they hurt me. I just want to reveal the truth. After thinking for a while, Victoria said, I have access to Collins Real Estate's transaction data. My company is their major client. What does that mean? There have been some suspicious transactions recently. Victoria lowered her voice. Sometimes the numbers don't add up. Emily began to understand the meaning of Victoria's words. Fraud? I can't be certain. Victoria hesitated. But I think it's worth investigating. Their eyes met, and a silent agreement was exchanged. That night, Emily told Samantha about her conversation with Victoria. Will she cooperate? Samantha asked with interest. Yes, Emily nodded. She's a victim too. James lied to her as well. And about the fraud at Collins Real Estate. Victoria will investigate in detail, Emily said, looking out the window. I have a friend who knows the law. A classmate from Harvard Law School. I plan to consult with her. Samantha smiled. You're serious, aren't you? Yes, Emily said with determination. There's no need to rush. I'll prepare thoroughly for a perfect plan. The Collins family had prepared a surprise for her birthday. Now it was her turn to prepare a special surprise for them. 2 months later, in late August, Emily requested a meeting with James and his parents. A short, concise email. Just one line that said, I want to discuss the divorce. James's reply was quick. Let's meet with lawyers present. Friday at 3 p.m., in the conference room at Collins Real Estate. Emily smiled as she looked at the computer screen. That's perfect, she whispered. On Friday, Emily arrived at the luxurious office building of Collins Real Estate. Dressed in a pure white suit, she crossed the lobby with confident steps. The receptionist looked at her with a surprised expression but quickly began escorting her to the conference room. The receptionist opened the door to a large conference room. Inside, James, his parents, and their lawyer, Mr. Harrison, were already waiting. When Emily entered, they all looked up at once. Martha's expression clearly showed disgust. Emily, James greeted her coldly. Sit down. Emily said quietly, thank you. She sat down across from them at the conference table and carefully placed her document file. It was a simple action, but the confident attitude made the room's atmosphere tense for a moment. You should have already submitted the divorce papers, Martha said with a stern expression. There's no reason to meet you. Emily calmly replied, no, I haven't signed yet. And there are things you should know. What are you dragging this out for? Robert showed his irritation. Sign the papers and get it over with. Emily smiled and opened her document file. Don't rush, Robert. Let me first explain my medical records. These are my latest test results. They prove I am not infertile. Robert snorted. We heard from the doctor. You have a problem. Yes, but whose test results did you hear about? Emily gently questioned. She took out another document. These are James's real medical records. He had the tests done under my name and switched the results. The color drained from James's face. That's ridiculous. Look at this, Emily slid the documents to the center of the table. James has azoospermia. He's known about it for over a year. And he was placing that responsibility on me. This is nonsense, Robert displayed his anger. Those documents must be forged. They're official documents from the State Medical Records Administration, Emily said quietly. If they're forged, that can be easily proven. Lawyer Harrison examined the documents and frowned. These appear to be genuine. The atmosphere in the room changed. James took a glass of water with trembling hands and took a sip. So? Martha raised her voice. What are you trying to say? What I'm saying is that the reason you drove me out calling me an infertile woman was a lie, Emily said slowly. But that's not all. Just then, there was a knock on the conference room door. Emily smiled. Perfect timing. My friend is here. The door opened, and Victoria entered. James's expression froze. Victoria. I told her everything, James, Victoria said coldly. That you were telling me the same lies. That it was your fault we couldn't have children. What is this? Martha stood up. Who is this woman? I'm Victoria Clark. I've been dating your son for over a year, Victoria said, looking at Martha. He told me he was already divorced from Emily. And he promised we would start a new family. Martha and Robert looked at each other with confused expressions. What kind of farce is this? Robert shouted. Emily said in a calm voice, it's not a farce. Just the truth. She took out another file. And this is a financial investigation report on Collins real estate. Information gathered with the help of Victoria and my friends. Significant tax evasion and misappropriation of funds were found. Robert and James's complexions changed drastically. Copies have already been sent to the authorities, Emily quietly added. According to my investigation, there appears to be about $4 million in unreported income over the past 5 years. Lawyer Harrison looked through the documents and displayed a clearly disturbed expression. This is a serious matter. It's a lie. Robert pounded the table with his fist. This is blackmail. Blackmail? Emily calmly shook her head. No, just disclosure of facts. If it were blackmail, I would be demanding something from you. What do you want? James said in a low voice. Money. Emily showed emotion for the first time and sharply retorted, money? I won't be like you. My conditions are these: 1. Appropriate compensation. 2. 30% of the Collins family real estate. 3. A public apology. You're joking, James said. A joke? Emily's voice contained anger. Who invited me to a luxury restaurant on my birthday and left me with divorce papers and a suitcase? Who left a note saying, an infertile woman doesn't deserve to be family? James was at a loss for words. If that was your surprise, this is mine, Emily said quietly. If you don't accept my proposal, copies of these documents will go to the media, and a full-scale investigation by tax authorities and the Securities and Exchange Commission will begin. The room fell silent. Martha sat back down with trembling hands. Robert's face had turned bright red. This is a threat, Robert said. Legally. Legally? Emily laughed coldly. If we're talking legally, should I call my lawyer? Specialists in both family law and tax law. Lawyer Harrison cleared his throat. Could we step out briefly to consult with our clients? Of course, Emily stood up. 15 minutes should be sufficient. Emily and Victoria waited in the hallway. The two didn't exchange words. Everything that needed to be said had been said. 15 minutes later, the door opened, and Lawyer Harrison invited them in. The Collins family's expressions had clearly changed. We'll accept the conditions, Robert said in a hard voice. But regarding the public apology, there's no room for negotiation, Emily calmly asserted. All conditions. Eventually, the Collins family had no choice but to agree to all conditions. While signing the papers, James avoided looking at Emily. When everything was finished, Emily quietly stood up and looked around the room. Her former family, people who had hurt her and tried to discard her. Now their positions were reversed. Remember this day, Emily left these words. You taught me what family means. Family is bound by love and respect, never by blood or profit. With those parting words, Emily proudly left the conference room with Victoria. Walking down the hallway, she felt a deep relief from her heart for the first time. 1 year after the divorce, Emily was sitting on the terrace of her new apartment, gazing at the Boston cityscape. Thanks to the settlement and rights to Colin's real estate, she was financially stable. Although she returned to her nursing job, she now worked only 3 days a week and was beginning to build a new career as a medical legal consultant for the rest of her time. "This view is wonderful," Samantha came out onto the terrace holding a coffee cup. She often visited Emily's home on weekends. "Yes," Emily smiled. "Both life and the view have changed considerably." "Your victory," Samantha said. "I hear the Collins family is quite on the decline. The tax evasion investigation is progressing, they say." Emily answered while looking out the window, "It's not about winning or losing. I simply revealed the truth. And I realize my value isn't determined by whether I can have children." One weekday afternoon, while Emily was working at the hospital, she received a call from the pediatrics department. A support group for families of pediatric cancer patients was looking for an advisor with knowledge of both medicine and law. "Emily, you're perfect for this," a colleague said while handing her the file. "It's just weekend volunteering. Are you interested?" Emily accepted without hesitation. Her activity in the support group gave her a new purpose. In particular, her interaction with families considering adoption moved her heart. Family isn't about blood ties. It's about love and responsibility, the words of one mother resonated with her. Inspired by those words, Emily began the adoption process. And that's when she met Lucy, a 5-year-old girl. Lucy had been abused by her biological parents and had been moving from one foster home to another. The girl with big brown eyes and a shy smile captured Emily's heart from their first meeting. "Will you become my family?" Emily asked, and Lucy gripped her hand tightly. "Will you be my mommy? Do you promise?" Emily nodded while crying. "I promise. We are family." On a warm spring day 3 years later, Emily and Lucy were walking in the park. Lucy proudly showed a family picture she had drawn at school. It depicted smiling Emily and Lucy, surrounded by their friends. "The teacher asked us to draw our family," Lucy explained. "I drew you and Aunt Samantha, and all our friends from the support group." Emily hugged her daughter. "It's a beautiful picture." On their way home, they happened to pass by Martha Collins. Martha had visibly aged and no longer had her once dignified appearance. After the tax fraud case, the Collins family had lost their social standing, and rumors said James had left town. Martha stared at Emily and Lucy, hesitated for a moment, then nodded slightly. "Hello, Martha," Emily maintained her composure as she greeted her. "You look happy," Martha's voice was small. "Yes, because I found a real family," Emily answered while embracing Lucy's shoulders. For a moment, a glimmer of understanding appeared in Martha's eyes. She nodded once more and walked away. That night, after putting Lucy to bed, Emily went out onto the terrace and looked up at the starry sky. The journey that began with that birthday surprise had led her to unexpected happiness. She now had a family in the true sense of the word, an irreplaceable bond formed by love and respect.